Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Wednesday in the Riv Hump Day. And
And I've got to say something before we go
okay,
on. I am totally disgusted with the people of Fall River. The election was one thing, but Veterans Day celebrations and nobody shows up, I've got a problem. I have a major problem. Okay?
yeah,
Nobody's gonna get left behind. Motto of the military. No man left behind. Yeah, well, not in America. And let me tell you something. It's obvious why. Because you people don't give a shit. Go
well,
around saying thank you for your service all you want. But do you ever engage them in conversation? What branch of the military were you in? Did you enjoy it? Did you get to see any of the world? What was your MOS? In other words, what was your job?
MOS,
Yep,
Military Occupational Specialty.
that's right. What was your job? You know, I want to really thank you for what you did. And if they're war bound veterans, they deserve an even greater thanks. If for nothing else, for the fact that they got back here in one piece, or what appears to be one piece.
Yeah,
It
well,
just disgusted me. Made it
20,
totally disgusted me.
22. Hello, Colin. Thank you. Yeah, well, I've always had a problem with the whole thing, and I
Yeah,
kind of went on Monday. I kind of said it. It's a national disgrace. You're right, CJ. It's a national disgrace. And it's gotten worse because Veterans Day, I try to not do anything, stay home, and kind of just,
I didn't even call you on Veterans Day because I know how you are.
yeah. And I see all these politicians and all these TV shows about we're honoring the veterans, and they got them on Channel 10 and Channel 12, but that's for one day.
Yeah,
That's it. It's one day. Um, we should remember them every day.
that's right.
There's a day set aside for that, which should highlight that. But the fact that it was it to me, it's there's no excuse for this because what we've got 22 veterans killing themselves uh, daily,
Every day.
and we've got them sleeping in the streets. We've got a representative. Hello, Justin. We've got a representative delegation. One of them's gone now. I can't say the entire representative, but when he was there, all three of our state reps voted against housing for veterans. To have uh, veterans have preference. Instead, they'll vote for illegal housing and give illegals money and give illegals everything and hotel rooms and stick them in market rate housing in places like Fall River while veterans sleep in the street. It's a national disgrace, and you can't the apathy. And I don't know about Fall River anymore. I'd like to see the demographic. I think we got a lot of people that have. I think we got a lot of illegals in Fall River. I see a lot of them, supermarkets. I see them, everywhere, and I know they're in market rate housing. They can. I don't know where Healy put them. She took them out of the hotels, but I got a pretty damn good idea. Uh, yeah. Well, people forget, but some people don't. My cousin, it was very, very emotional for me. But my cousin sent me some pictures back from Normandy. She's there. She went to Paris, and on Veterans Day, she went to Flanders Fields, and she sent me a picture of the cemetery. And because they know, but it seems that the younger generation, they since I think it began when they eliminated the draft, and I think that hurt the country overall by eliminating the draft. Because you know something, it's my personal opinion. I'm not going to say it's a fact, but I believe that when we had the draft and people got stuck in the military for 2 years, they didn't have to go for 3 or 4. They got stuck in there for 2. We got a lot of keyboard warriors who don't have any grasp on reality that would be different people if they got dragged out of mommy's and daddy's basement, got their ass stuck in basic training and had some DI screaming at them and had to go sleep with people he didn't know and learn about the real world. Get taken away from home and not given he's got 3 hots in a cot and he's got medical care, but he's going to be out there. Hey, Jimmy, they're going to be out there. And I think that made a man out of a lot of people and women, for the women who go in now. But the thing is that Israel has mandatory. Yeah, you're right, Uma. You're right. They have mandatory military service and training for everyone because obviously it's a necessity in Israel. Everybody has to know how to fight. They're under attack virtually all the time. We saw what happened in Israel. But, I am convinced that the removal, I think we should have mandatory military service for every male in the country. Take them away from mommy. You know how many people were crying the first night when I was in basic training in their bunks? A lot. They were all sorry. Forces you to grow up. And today, they never have to grow up. We got 40-year-old people out here that are still living in the basement. I don't know. It pisses me off. Does it piss me off? Yeah. I just had somebody text me as I was speaking. I looked down. He said, I apologize for not, I know how yesterday, he said, but it's a reflection of what's the problem with this country. We got these yo-yo Democrats yelling about, protect the illegals, protect it, and they crap all over the veterans. These people will talk about veterans on yesterday. They'll talk, and ironically enough, I had another experience. Yesterday, as you know, CJ, every Veterans Day, I go to my father's grave and make sure that his World War II plaque is clear.
Right.
And I went there yesterday, and his was the only grave in Notre Dame Cemetery that didn't have a flag on it.
Wow. Either Victor missed it or somebody took it.
I don't think it was ever put there. There were a lot of flags out. I cleared the plaque, and I actually made a call to one of our counselors who's very involved with the veterans, positively or negatively. And I said, who takes care of this? And I got the name. And I said, okay. He said, well, you're not call them now? I said, no, it's too late now. It's Veterans Day. And I'm clearing this thing. And what I did was I saw a grave that had 2 flags. One was old. I think it was from last year. It was in tough shape, but it was still a flag. So I took it and I put it on my father's grave near his plaque. And but like I said, then the excuse again. I was told, well, they got the kids doing it. They might have missed it. Well, if they're there to put them on a flag, listen, you don't want to. From now on, I'm going to make sure I got a flag when I go there because I go there every Veterans Day, and I'll make sure I put one on it because this is the thing. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He's got a big square plaque that says World War II. But it's tragic. But that kind of disrespect and basically not considering anything except themselves is not only for the veterans, it's for basically everything today in this society. They don't care about anybody but themselves. And we've got half the country that's like this. And, we got the whiny Democrats now. They opened up the government, but they use the public as leverage. But they talk a lot, but they never do anything. Like I said, this state, remember something, everybody. If you ever do get to the polls, that our entire state delegation, well, like I said, it's not the entire. The new guy from Westport, I don't know how he would have voted on that. But the delegation that was in there with Schmidt all didn't vote for the veterans to have housing and be moved to the top of the list. But they voted for, I can guarantee you, if we look at their voting records, they voted for every single expenditure for illegals because they're all kissing the Speaker of the House's ass. We know how that works. I'm not going to pull any punches. They want committees. You don't do what the Speaker tells you, you're not getting any committees. Yeah, out of left field, I think they still do, Mario. But, this is the thing that disturbs me. And I know there's a recount Saturday. I was asked to participate, and I will. I may have to. I hope they got a lunch break or something because I have to. My dog just had surgery and today, so I have to keep an eye on her. She's walking
Abby
around.
has a fixed schedule. She's been on that schedule for a long time. There is no way you're going to break with that now.
She's, I'm going to excuse myself. She's trying to get up the stairs on the bed with her donut on. I don't want her to break her leg. I will disappear for a second.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, Westport still owes the city money. Although the Westport Water Board decided to give them a 50% discount. Hey, I want a 50% discount. Can I get one? I doubt it. Fire Photog says on YouTube, Victor Farias will put a flag. Former Graven flag officer. Yep, you're right. Victor's very good at his job. So I find it a little interesting to see what happens.
I'm back.
No lunch break Saturday, according to Boomer.
What's that?
No lunch breaks, according to Boomer.
No lunch break. Well, I will. Well, Boomer, I may have to take a break or so to take care of the pup. If that's not, if I got to be there every single second, I guess I probably can't go.
We all could use a discount on our gas bill, Mario.
But I gotta come running back to the house periodically and stuff, and yeah, I mean, we've got some serious issues in this country, and we got some serious issues in this city, and I saw that. I wonder they're going to try to put. All right, thank you, Bruma. I don't want to commit to something that he says like we're locked in there. I don't know if he thinks we're going to steal something, but I may have to leave. It only takes me 10 minutes to get home. Yeah, we got some serious issues, but I see that they're looking at a legislation or something to stop these street takeovers and stuff like that. This is the legislature again doing what it does best, doing nothing. They're going to pass more laws that these people are going to ignore. Yeah, I know. I'm only kidding, but they're
letting the general public in, and many members of the general public aren't going to be sitting there for the entire period. They're going to want to get out, get a drink, get the bathroom. Things like that.
I don't know if they're letting the general public in this one.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Well, like you said, we're gonna. I've already looked up. I'm going to have a copy of the law with me, Chapter 54, Section 135. You know me. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be well prepared to be there. But we'll discuss that later. But this is what these politicians do. Pass more gun laws, not punish the criminals. Let them out with no bail after they commit a gun crime. Now they're going to pass more laws. Why do you need to pass more laws? If they catch these people, destroy the vehicle they're using, impound it, sell it, put it in a crusher, do whatever you got to do, and yank their license for a year, it's going to stop.
But that's what the new legislation is. The new legislation will allow cities and towns to confiscate the vehicles and then destroy them, sell them, whatever the case may be. So, and some of those vehicles are really tricked out. And you and I both know those kids put more faith in their cars than they do in the law.
Oh, absolutely.
So if they think they're going to lose it, they're going to scream. And they might think twice.
All right, Boomer, I'll send it to you as soon as the show's over. They're going to pass the law. Well, they should have done that a long time ago. I mean, there's no prohibition against the city doing what Providence did. The city didn't have to pass a Rhode Island law to confiscate the vehicles. The city passed an ordinance. You're going to do this in the city. So if somebody wants to fight that in court, let them go fight that in court. They're not going to win. That makes no sense at all, because this is BS. You know, you take the vehicle, you drive it to the crusher, and you stick it. And like you said, but it's not only kids. The last time they grabbed somebody who's 36 years old.
Right.
I mean, 36 years old, you're doing crap like that, you got to be arrested for felony stupid. "36 years old, he's driving around in the streets doing donuts."
Yeah.
That's felony stupid.
Yes, it is.
I mean, this is the problem we got in this country, you know, and we've become too hedonistic, like Rome. Rome got too powerful, too big. That's what caused its eventual destruction. This country's got too easy with it now. They don't have to work. In the old days, you had to work. What is it? Yeah, Jazel Correll's the youngest man. Yeah, I think I know that. Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. But like I said, recounts are. There's so much confusion too, because now the way they manipulated the intentionally, I may add, at least in my opinion, the mail-in ballots and the dates and everything else. Now it's too easy. I mean, we got to. What were those stats you had, CJ, about how many ballots he mailed out and how many he got back?
About 4,000 were mailed out, and he got back about half of them, about 2,000.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, do we ever account for these things and where they've gone and why you even sent them out? And what do you say? Well, we got 2,000 back, so we'll count the 2,000 we got. Then again, did you really get only 2,000 back? Somebody that's a conspiracy theorist could say some of them got lost. There's still rumors about an election many, many years ago, and you know the one I'm talking about.
Riga Machado.
That there were ballots thrown out of the back door of the city hall basement.
That's
and
right.
A guy got a nickname called Riga. That's how he got his nickname.
That's right. Riga Machado. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. WSCR poll worker said that they add those in after, but we were told that those mail-in counts will be one, and the numbers don't add up. Yeah, well, that's the valid reason for a recount. I mean, I think you should, when it's that close, you should have had a recount anyway. And the way, frankly, these ballots are being handled a lot, I don't agree with the fact that they get to basically. There's no, I don't know what the oversight is. And you say, okay, you got to trust them. Well, unfortunately, I don't trust anybody except
Actually, Colin, both I and Chip read the report that you sent.
yeah,
And we were supposed to discuss it today, but I'm somehow or another we went
we
off in
got off
another
on a
direction.
tangent. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
We did. So I guess now we'll have to push it off till Friday. But yeah, it's a damning report. But look, the whole entire city's damned. We look at what's going on here, and it's crazy. You I don't know how we're going to survive 2 years. Frankly, I mean, there'll be more pay raises in spite of the fact we don't have the money. There will be uh, more funny numbers. Paulie giving everybody. No, you're right, Boomer. We have to. You did the right thing. You have to take them and show the process because even after you go through the process, I believe the process is flawed now. I think there's too many variables in the process right now. The way they count these ballots, the way they open up. Do they open up these ballots? No, they're not supposed to. But do they open them up? Do they look? I don't know. I don't know about the. I think that. Look, I'm an old school guy. Unless you've got a medical reason, or you're in the military and you got to get an absentee ballot. I frankly don't think you should get an absentee ballot. We should be voting at the polls with voter ID. Then you got a secure election. To me, that's it.
And I'm a firm believer, and this goes against a lot of people's grain, but I'm a firm believer in those people who qualify for an absentee ballot, okay, that those ballots should be counted even after Election Day. So if it comes in on Wednesday, it was in the mail for Tuesday. It was in the mail on Monday or whatever day it was. They shouldn't be penalized because the post office was slow.
True.
Other states do it that way. They give them like 5 or 6 days or 10 days for those mail-in ballots to come in. Because if you're in Paris, especially the way the Fall River Elections Office sends ballots out, if you're in Paris on duty, how the hell are you going to get that ballot into Fall River by Election Day? Especially when the Fall River Post Office doesn't process them anymore. It's all processed out of Providence. And the Fall River Elections Office can't get their shit together.
Yeah, and when you send out, when you send out 4,000 ballots and you only get half back, it shows a problem because those 4,000 ballots obviously were sent out. But how do you know how many of those 2,000 ballots were actually filled out by the individual? That's why I say the whole system to me. The Democrats loved COVID. They made these. They gave in some of these states. I mean, they went wild. They went berserk with the way they just gutted every kind of safeguard you have in an election.
Yeah,
so they
I know.
basically get the result that they wanted, and it's I agree with the people who are still adamant about you want safe elections, have very stringent rules for absentee ballots. Military personnel stationed overseas, people with a legitimate reason they need one because they're physically or infirmed or something like that or whatever. But there has to be guidelines. Otherwise, get your lazy ass to the polls.
Right. And I
Because
don't want to hear
remember,
I had to go to Stop and Shop, so I didn't make it.
yeah. It's like, and we've proved that's the issue. The people don't want to vote.
Right.
They're lazy. Because listen, he sent out 4,000 absentee ballots. So if we add 4,000 to 11,000, that's 15,000. That still leaves about 35,000 that didn't have an absentee ballot and didn't vote. So they consciously made the choice not to vote. And I don't know. I'm going back to Collins. No more rubber stamps. I don't know about that. We'll see. That will depend on
Until the end of the year, you got them. Until the end of the year.
That will depend on the school committeemen, and I know you will be one of them. For this time, don't take it. Don't be suppressed. Don't be told to shut up. Don't let anybody rubber stamp anything. Demand the numbers. You tried to do the job you won't. Now you know. You have and I got all the court precedents. They have to give you those numbers, and it's up to the school committee to stand up. Or if not, if you can't get a majority vote, the minority take them to court. I talked about this with some very good lawyers, and they said you have no alternative but to take them to court, and you'll win. Everything they're doing is illegal, but you can do illegal things if nobody prosecutes you for it. Nobody takes you to court. Nobody complains. They'll do anything they can get away with, and it's pretty obvious.
Well, Mike Sylvia wants to give everyone a $50 credit on their excise tax bill if they go out and vote. That will increase the numbers. How much you want to make a bet that if they did that, it would not increase the numbers?
Nah.
People couldn't be bothered.
Well, I hope so.
After January, yes.
Yeah, you're right. I from what I see, I think you may. But we've been in this game a long time. We've seen a lot of people who looked really good going in. And all of a sudden, what happened?
That's right.
And I'm not
let's see if any of them have the balls to make a motion and get a second to reconsider Ken Pacheco's position. Maybe it's time to get rid of him.
Oh, it's a long past due.
That's right.
Yeah, listen. Actually, if I was involved in an election, they had a whole bunch of ballots that were postmarked before the deadline, and they were absentee ballots. As you said, there's no explaining why. You could be military, I can give one explanation. Simple, 2 words: post office.
That's right.
I get my mail sometimes 2 or 3 days after everybody else in the city. I know this.
I hear you.
Because when I was on a department and we used to take promotional exams, we used to get our marks in the mail. And everybody that took an exam wanted to know where they stood. So as soon as the marks came out, everybody's phone was melting. What did you get on the exam? They wanted to see where they were. And I remember one exam, I think it was for captain. And the marks came out like on a Friday. Everybody got their marks virtually except me and another guy who lived in a Flint who had taken the exam. Everybody's calling me up and they're saying, "What'd you get?" I didn't get it. No, don't give me that. You're lying. You just want to hear what everybody else got first. And I said, "No, I didn't get it." Saturday came, still no mail. I got the same thing. You guys, but it wasn't only me, it was another guy. And he said the same thing. I didn't get mine. I got it on Monday. And when I got it, I called everybody and said, here, I got it. You can watch. You can see it. Okay. But, the post office is the post office. It's the reason it's been a major mess since its inception. I've had bills that took 15 days to get there that I mailed 10 days early. So I don't know. But, well, as long as, well, I don't know about Kenny Pacheco, but Kenny Fiola's there as long as Coogan's around. There's no doubt about that. Because if he is the puppeteer, and everybody knows that he's the Obama of Fall River. We had Obama doing this with Biden, and we got Kenny doing this, and we know who runs. We know that. Look, by his own admission, Paul can't run the city. He's bad at numbers. He's bad at, well, you name it. I'm just the vice principal. I don't know anything, and I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good with stats. I'm not good with anything, and so why am I here? But that's the. Yeah, I know you're right. But then again, they're showering Nancy Pelosi with praise. I'm sure he will. But that's the thing about politicians. They're great at taking in their own party and throwing bouquets at them. They're gonna get. Look at Pelosi. She made more money, 17,000%, 17,000% more than the Dow from 87 to 25. Her net worth is $413 million. Her salary is under 200,000. You do the math. Doesn't work. No insider trading there? No. She, everybody knows that. They blocked any kind of legislation to prohibit it because they're all getting filthy rich. That's the reason political insiders for investments, political insiders getting kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies. That's the reason that Donald Trump got the reduction in the GLP-1s. The Democrats and even the Republicans, for the most part, would never make that deal because they all get money from the pharmaceutical companies. Elizabeth Warren got nearly $500,000. Pelosi got $500,000. Plus, they all got stocks in the pharmaceutical companies. They don't give a shit that Americans are getting bent over and paying more for American drugs than any place else in the world. They don't care. Get that. That's why you're supposed to go out and vote. Because you got to get them out of there. You got to go put people in there and say, look, you want to be a politician, you want to do some public service. You're there for 2 terms, and then you're gone. You can't keep them in. This is what happens. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, Pelosi was one of the most corrupt and they're going to throw bouquets, just like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is crapping in his pants, too. He's falling down every other day. He has to be directed everywhere he goes like Biden, and he's a Republican. And I can guarantee you, when he finally retires, if he ever does, I think he is. He's not running again because he knows now that people from his state are pissed off at him. They're going to throw all kinds of bouquets at him for all his time in Washington. Doing what? Not helping the veterans, not helping the taxpayers, not fixing their health care. Remember, the Democrats are always bitching about the health care costs going up. What health care is going up? Obamacare, the worst health care system ever perpetrated on the world.
No question about it. Now, you know what's interesting? Because you and I have spoken about this, I believe. The president, Trump, recently negotiated price reductions on weight loss drugs, Wegovy and Zepbound. Okay? for $149 a dose a month or something.
Yeah,
That's
it
if
was
you pay cash.
149
That's
for
if
the
you
new
pay
oral.
cash. That's if you pay cash. If your insurance company pays it, they still pay the same amount. Does that seem right? Does that seem right?
No.
He's almost incentivizing people paying cash out of their pocket.
Well, I don't know if he's
And
incentivizing.
incentivizing that the insurance companies no longer pay for it.
Well, the problem is that if they, well, I don't know if you can look at it in two different ways, CJ. He's not incentivizing anybody. What he's doing is operating because he is not a politician. He's a deal maker and he's a negotiator. He knows how to negotiate. See, if I was him, I'd do the same thing because you know what I'd say? Let your insurance company just dump all these things because they're too expensive. Now, if I tell the people they can buy this stuff for $149 for the oral and $200 and whatever it was for the injectable, maybe the pharmaceutical companies will drop their prices, and then these healthcare companies will then put it back in their formulary because it's about the healthcare companies and the formularies. When you look at it from that way, you can say it's incentivizing the healthcare companies and the pharmaceutical companies to reduce their prices, not be mandated to reduce them. Because what they did was they got around it by saying, well, we're going to just drop it. And all kinds of people that had the GLMP ones are gone. Oh. Yeah, what a surprise. It's a fraud. Yeah, well, that's almost a guarantee when they've been in as long as those people. I mean, if you look at Cuomo, his family's been in politics for forever. But that's the problem. It's, finding a non-corrupt politician that's been up there for any length of time, more than 1 or 2 terms. It's like finding a unicorn. You got a better shot of finding a unicorn than finding one of them because it's crazy. But this is the problem. What's the problem? It's not a single issue. It's a complex issue. Got more than one moving piece. What's the problem with the pharmaceutical companies? What's the problem with politicians? What's the problem? You want to get to a bottom line? What's the problem, CJ? The people. They don't vote.
That's it.
They don't vote them out. You don't vote them out. How can you explain Mitch McConnell being in there since Christ was a corporal? You can't do it. You can't explain to me how Nancy Pelosi can be in office for 39 years. She's from San Francisco. They vote for her. San Francisco's a shithole. It was one of the most beautiful cities on the planet at one time. Now you walk in there, there's people laying all over the streets with mental issues.
Shit all over the street, they piss in every fountain.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, though, CJ. Until Xi comes over, until the president of China comes over, then that phony Democrat that wants to be President Newsom gets bulldozers, pushes all the junkies out of there, bulldozes all the trash, makes it squeaky clean, and then when they leave, he lets them shit all over San Francisco again. You tell me, somebody out there explain to me how anybody could vote for Nancy Pelosi that lives in San Francisco, the way that city's gone down a hill, and she's been in there for 39 years, and they elect her every time. And how are you going to elect Gavin Newsom as governor of the state of California? You all got to be batshit crazy or so rich that you're above it all. And that's what happens. So I don't know, because it doesn't make any sense. It is not logical. It is not logical.
Jeff wants to know if we think that the government shutdown is going to end today.
I don't know if it'll end by tonight, but it's going to end. And why is it going to end, Jeff? Not because of they greatly.
Not because they stood their ground.
Yeah, it's because they're worried about re-election because some of these
That's right.
Democrats are going to go back to states that actually listen and know that it was them that caused all this problem.
That's right.
And they're going to get, they don't want this. They're caving. They just wanted to get by this election, and they got it. And they got their wish. You know, you got a commie in charge of New York, so that'll be fun to watch. Yeah, well, I can't. You know, I mean, that's gonna be a whole because there's a lot of things in here that have to be dealt with. You know, we can't get off topic and stuff. So it's got to be. There's certain things that have got to be talked about in depth, and because the school department is kind of like North Korea. I know that the city council gets very little information because they're not transferring anything. But the school department, not only do they don't get information, they're not even allowed to ask questions. At least in the city council, they get to ask questions that are not answered. But in the school committee, as it stands now, they can ask questions, but they're told to shut up. I'm going to file a complaint against you because you're asking too many questions, school committeeman. Really? Madam Superintendent, I'm an elected official. You work for the school department. I'm on a school committee. I have a legal right to ask these questions because I'm the fiduciary. I want to know. I'm representing the people. The people want to know. My constituents are calling me with questions. I have a right to do that. You're going to sue me for what? Doing my job? I should sue you for non-performance. Malfeasance on a part of a public official. But I mean, this is all bull. I mean, the school, hopefully in January, as Colin said, it's going to be a brave new world over there. And I just hope somebody makes a motion when Tommy Corey starts his bouquet throwing and hysteria about he's a wonderful guy. He's a wonderful guy that we spent millions of dollars on a contract for duct work, and they didn't do the job. And then he gave a guy a $95,000 a year job. Don't give me that bullshit. Tell him to shut up, stick with the subject. Talk about money, talk about personnel, talk about substantive issues. I don't want to hear a character. I don't want to hear a character reference.
And to give you a little ammunition, Colin and Kevin and the new members of the school committee, always call out point of order.
Yeah. Point of order. We're not asking for a recommendation. We're not asking for a character reference. We're asking where he spent the money. Shut up, Tommy, and sit down. That's what should be said. Stop whining. Oh, they didn't shut him up when they went on about Kenny, Colin. Oh, he's such a wonderful guy. He's the best man we ever saw. I love him. He's such a great. He makes me cry. He's so good.
See, the problem right now is you have people like Mimi Larrabee, Shelley Pereira, and Tom Corey and Bailey all sitting on the school committee. That's 4 people which outweigh you in votes.
Yeah.
Okay? And what they do is to vote, they have to crawl out of Paul's ass, okay, smelling like roses, and then slap that shit down on the counter to make the vote heard. So believe me, we know. Now, with the new school committee members coming in, Anna Riley, I have a great deal of respect for. She has produced. She's been named the best superintendent in the state of Rhode Island. Fall River has never gotten a best superintendent award for anything. Not even for shit show. Okay? I'm not sure about the other members of the school committee. But with Anna, that gives you 3.
We will see, as they say. But
I didn't hear much from the other 2 at all. That's why I couldn't vote for them. and that's why I didn't vote for them.
Yeah, no, we do get the ones that hold, they hold a line, and the thing is that you can't you can't allow that. Yeah, I heard that about Manny. Yeah, um, and you know the thing is, all the people are asking for is what Paul promised 6 years ago and has never done and never will do. That's transparency. Let's look at the numbers. We're all big, we're all big boys and girls. We have to run our own homes. We have to pay our own bills. We have to take good news and bad news as part of life.
The bad news is the tax bill.
So you can tell us that the city's in the hole, but they don't want to tell you that because they put us in the hole and they're more worried about their election. So it's time for our school committee to be able to ask the hard questions and get the answers and then place the blame exactly where it belongs. Look at the numbers. Dig into the budget, eliminate waste. This is what we elected you for. The same thing with the school, with the city council. You can't allow the corporation council to tell you he's not going to give you the answers. You are the Ways and Means Committee of the city of Fall River. You are the fiduciary. You dispose. You are responsible for the disbursement of the money. You are responsible to ensure that that money is dispersed properly. You cannot allow that clown to tell you, I'm not telling you. But you do. You make a little noise, you ask a few questions. He says, shut up, go away, I'm not telling you. Oh, we got a court case pending. Well, good, you got a court case pending? We'll have an executive session with you, but we want to know all the numbers and we're going to release them to the public as soon as the litigation is over. Period. End of story. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what CJ said. CJ and I ran a lot of meetings. There's a point of order. Point of personal privilege also, but you don't normally call those unless you want to throw a bouquet at somebody. But then I shouldn't have said that because now Tommy Corey will say, point of personal privilege, I'm going to go rant how great Kenny Pacheco is. But then you got to rule them out of order because that's not germane to what you're talking about. You'll have to call the question, whatever it was. But the fact is that this is what you're elected for. Because remember, the Constitution of our Commonwealth clearly states you are our substitutes and agents and answerable to us at all times. But you're not answerable. You don't do it when you allow these people to not give you the information. It is not an acceptable answer. You were elected to get that answer, or as that court case that I got sitting right in front of me that I read all the time, that says that public fiduciaries and all fiduciaries are expected to cast a, quote, critical eye, unquote, at any numbers given to them. And they have to go deeper into those numbers than just what was presented to them. They have a fiduciary obligation, and public fiduciaries have a greater responsibility because you're using taxpayer money, not investor money. If you screw an investor in a company, it's up to the investors to take your ass to court. But you're using our money, and we don't have any say in it. You're the people with the say. And when you don't give us that say, you're violating your oath. It's that simple. It's not complicated. It's that simple.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Yeah, I heard something about that. I think he had some kind of background, but he didn't do a lot of campaigning. I guess he did have a base because he got in. The other person, I don't know anything about.
And the problem is, and I said this before and after the election, these people did not campaign. They did not campaign. And that's the problem. They would have had
I'm
a better
glad this.
turnout with votes had they campaigned. Because if I was like the average Fall River voter, I would have said, well, I don't know these people, but I know Tom Corey, and I know Mimi Larrabee, and I know Shelley Pereira, and I know Bailey, and they would have gotten votes, but they weren't on the ballot. Except for Tom Corey, the rest weren't on the ballot. That's why you have a new school committee. That's the only reason why you have a new school committee.
Well, you got to remember one thing though. Shelley had a reason, a legitimate excuse. Her lettuce was limp.
That's right. The lettuce wasn't. It was
The
getting
lettuce
roasted.
wasn't. The lettuce was limp, and that's a problem. But let's look at this quickly as we wrap up. This is a classic example of the Coogan administration and what it's brought to Fall River to the infinite power. Look at the way he handles things. I'm transparent, I'm not. But let's look at the school department. It's a great example. As you just said, CJ. We have Ann Riley, outstanding superintendent in the state of Rhode Island. And Rhode Island has some pretty good, very well performing school systems, too. She was outstanding in her previous superintendent stint in another Rhode Island community, Barrington. And she moved over. Outstanding credentials. She got those jobs because she had outstanding credentials. She put those outstanding credentials that made her the best superintendent in the state of Rhode Island in front of the Fall River School Committee, and they hired Coogan's friend. That tells it all. End of story.
Not his friend, his puppet. Not his friend, his puppet.
There it is. There it is. You had one of the best candidates that's ever been put forward in front of the Fall River school system. And you took, I want to have a welcoming environment. Shut up, Colin. You can't answer questions. This is what you got. Patronage and underperformance. We're talking about Paul Coogan selecting the superintendent over, somebody that the actual school teachers endorsed and now has shown that what she could do. She had an outstanding resume when she applied for that job. She's gone to Rhode Island and been voted the best superintendent in the state. This is why you have to vote. Keep putting these Pelosi-like ticks in the sixth floor, and this is going to be the end of Fall River. Just like Nancy Pelosi destroyed San Francisco and everything in her path and got rich, Paul Coogan has destroyed Fall River and got rich in the process. That's it. And we lost an opportunity to have an outstanding superintendent. Why? Patronage.
She wasn't a puppet. She wasn't a puppet.
We never hire anybody.
Ann Riley is going to be an asset.
Yeah,
right now, Ann Riley is going to be an asset.
And it carries over to the city. What did Paul say? We're gonna hire this girl that's got, she's young and I want to give her a chance. So you're gonna give it a top job? When has she ever been a CFO anywhere else? Has she learned the job? She's looked pathetic in front of the city council. Well, Paul's gonna give it a job, because he likes her. Not performance-wise. I don't give a damn what kind. I don't care how much I like a guy. If he's a plumber, he's stuck. And he is. Well, we all knew that. That was case closed. But when you can't get the job done unless the guy can do the job. You don't look. When you're looking up plumbers, and you see a plumber with 1 star and a plumber with 5 stars, who are you going to hire? Oh, I had one with 1 star. Or no stars. So, this is the Paul Coogan legacy. A legacy of patronage, lack of performance, and just raping the taxpayers.
That's it. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. We will hopefully get to the school department report on Friday, providing nothing major happens. So remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great evening. And remember, it's cold out there.